Frontrunner Donald Trump, though, still beating the Texas lawmaker by 14 percentage points. I sat down with Donald Trump and got his take on those polls, his national security plan, and a recent comment made by Mr. Trump at a campaign rally last weekend that has his critics in attack mode. We began with Mr. Trump's top priorities.
Well, my only priority is to make America great again. It's our theme. It's been my theme. It's been my theme for years. I mean, make America great again. We can do it. One thing I've seen, Maria, I go around, I'm seeing millions of people. We have the largest crowds by far. Bernie's second, but it's a distant second. And I have to say, he is second. But we have crowds that are so massive. And we have amazing people in this country. We have people that love the country, really smart, really dedicated, and I think we can do such a job. If we have proper leadership, we will be, I think, potentially better than ever before. With that being said, we can't go another 4 years with a Hillary or a Bernie.
So in that vein, I mean, do you think sometimes that maybe you need to pull in some of the comments, some of the rhetoric that so many people talk about? For example, this weekend, at your campaign stop, you said, I could literally go on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and not lose support. Do you want to rein that? Would you say things like that if you
were... As a president,
I wouldn't.
No, as a president, I wouldn't. But as a campaigner running against, you know, we had 17 people total. We have people on the other side, but forget them, because first you have to win this before you think. I haven't even thought about Hillary except for maybe a 2-day period, okay, where I think I did a very strong statement about her. And I think, frankly, I helped Bernie more than Bernie helped himself during that period of time. But I'm running against 16 people, and now it's down to 13 or 12 or something, whatever. A lot of people are going to drop out. I have to be a little bit verbose. I have to. Now, that comment was said with me laughing, and the entire audience, thousands of people were laughing.
You know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
And when you leave the clip, if you left it for another second, you'd hear everybody in the room was laughing. It was said as a joke. Obviously, it's a joke. And most people do. Only dishonest reporters would report it anything other. That was obviously a joke. And what it said is, and every one of your polls and every other poll show that my people are the most loyal. Where Cruz has like a 20% number, where people will definitely wait. I think it's 68% and almost over 90% for people that essentially have made up their mind on Trump. That's a tremendous number. That's a tremendous compliment. So that was that. I can do anything, and they're going to stay with me. And I said it jokingly.
You said it jokingly. I get that. But, I mean, such a sensitive moment in time in terms of mass shootings being up, crime up in 30 cities in the double digits. Was it inappropriate at this moment in time?
No. It was said as a joke. It was fun. We were all having fun. You know, it's like we got to lighten up a little bit. And every once in a while, I like to be politically incorrect. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let me turn to national security, obviously one of the major issues for the American people today. You've said in the past, look, let China deal with North Korea. You've said in the past, look, let Russia deal with ISIS.
Not let them. I want them to. China has ripped off the United States for years. They've taken our jobs. They've taken our money. They've taken our manufacturing. They have total control over North Korea. They say they don't. They do. They say that. They're toying with us. They love this. They love it. They have total control. North Korea couldn't exist if everything, food, everything, it comes through China. Now, let China. When I say let China, I'm telling China, sorry, folks, you got to deal with this madman, because I don't want to do it. Now, if we have to do something, we have to do something. But China has to deal with North Korea.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. I mean, what about American leadership? I mean, people say, we don't want America to be the policeman for the world, but America has to show leadership around the world. How is that American leadership when you've got China dealing with North Korea and you've got Russia dealing with ISIS?
What, you want to deal with North Korea? Let them do it. If we can have somebody else do it for free. Look, here's another thing. South Korea. I have a lot of friends in South Korea, right? You have a line. We have 28,000 soldiers. They pay us peanuts. They pay us almost nothing for the services we're contributing. That's a wealthy. Every time I order television sets for a project, thousands and thousands of sets a year, televisions. I buy them from South Korea, the only ones. I mean, they make the best set. But they have LG, they have Samsung, they have all the... And I have to always buy them. I can't buy... We don't make them in the United States anymore. Here's the thing. Why aren't they paying us for this protection? We are protecting South Korea from this madman. Why are we doing it? We do everything for nothing.
Well, you've also talked about tariffs in this regard, okay? So we talked about whether it's 45% tariff or a lower tariff on Chinese goods coming into the country. What about the idea...
They aren't on our side, just so you understand. We lost last year, in terms of a trade deficit, $500 billion with China. That's not a partner. That's not a partner. We discussed that at the debate, where you did very nicely, by the way.
Thank
I have to tell you, your whole group was fantastic. But we lose a fortune with China on trade. You know, at some point, we got to change that. We have to get smart immediately with our trade. China is ripping us. Now, if they, on top of making all of this money out of the United States, aren't willing to talk to North Korea, and they can solve this problem with a phone call, Maria, believe me, they don't want to do it. They taunt us. They're going to solve the problem. Now, the 45% was not a number that we should charge them. That was a number of what it should be because of what they've done with devaluation. In other words, that's the equivalent of a 45% tax.
Okay, but that makes all the Chinese goods coming in here more expensive. You know that the prices for those goods that are very cheap
right now for Americans,
you
know what it makes it?
Much more expensive.
You're wrong. It makes it, we'll start making the goods here. Okay? We'll start making the goods here. When it becomes prohibitively expensive, our companies are going to make them in Iowa, and they're going to make them in North Carolina and South Carolina and New Hampshire. That's what's going to happen.
Speaking of American companies doing business, there's a lot of stories right now that American companies want to get into Iran with this deal. You've been critical of the Iran deal. What do you want to say to American companies who are looking at that and saying, you know what, this is a place that I want to open up shop?
I think it's great if they can. I think it's going to be very hard for the Americans. Russia's making missiles, which they're not supposed to be doing. In other words, Iran is not supposed to be making missiles. Russia's making all sorts of arms and missiles. They're dealing with everybody. Excuse me. We gave them $150 billion. They're giving that money to everybody but us. And they're also giving it to the terrorists, because one of the dumbest statements I've heard so far was John Kerry saying, yes, some of that money I assume will go to terror. And what kind of a person is this? What kind of people do we... We're dealing with babies. We have very, very... Honestly, Marie, we have very stupid people representing
How
us.
are you going to rip up this Iran deal when it's also involving 5 other superpowers? America can't do it alone.
I'm not talking about ripping it up. I think it's a horrible deal. It's a terrible deal. But I have bought deals purposely knowing the contract was no good. That's how I got them cheap. And I've made the contract good. I've done things that were very, very tough. And I've made contracts good. You've reported on some of them. We're going to be respected again. I'm going to have the best people in the world. You interview the best businessmen and women in the world. We have them in this country. We don't use them. We use political hacks to negotiate with China and with Japan and with Mexico, and we lose all the time. We're going to start using Carl Icahn, and who endorsed me. These people know how to deal. These people are winners. These are tough people. These are smart people. We have political hacks negotiating for us. Political hacks that got that position because they gave contributions.